Hit it with the.
Your best set drawn up here, and you're going to get it into Martinez. Defended by Hall. 6 seconds. Martinez ahead, and a foul, and a smart foul there.
It was.
You can't launch a three if you're getting fouled, and now you put Florida College on the line in the best they can do.
Is 1 point game.
Yeah.
And with 2.9, you almost have to miss the. Do you miss that second when trying to get an offensive rebound?
I think that's the conversation Teichman's having right now is, do you miss the second one on purpose?
Of course, it all depends on the first one.
Yeah, it's true. Or do you foul immediately? And they do make the first. It's going to make it 84-82. So a really smart foul for Sagu there.
And you saw the play design. It was going to Kramer, top of the key there for that look. And it was going to be open had that foul not come.
So Lippold back to the stripe. Best he can do is cut it to one or miss and hope for the board here. And it will be the intentional miss. Got his own board tipped out for three. Got it! Oh, my! Oh, my! What in the world? He got his own miss off of the free throw and kicked it to the corner. The three on the wing. Woo! Florida College off the deck. You're back.
It is buzzer beater time. Wow, what an exciting. That happened just about a week and a half, actually maybe 2 weeks ago. And that was an extremely exciting way to start off the kind of the classics and tournament year for basketball in the NAIA. I'm John Cookman, and I'm your host on this streaming podcast, video cast called Buzzer Beater. And that was a really great clip to be able to start Buzzer Beater. This is season 2, episode 1. And I don't know whether I should say I'm ashamed to say this is our first venture back into this world since COVID shut us down. And if you guys were following us in previous episodes in season 1, we ran into the COVID shutdown, and it kind of shut us down all the way down. We had to find some other things, still in broadcasting and sports broadcasting, but we found some other ways to make ourselves useful. And now we are back to, I would say, our passion, our love of small college sports. And where, as we go forward, I'll probably have diatribes that express more clearly how I feel about the level, the small college sports, really kind of NAIA Division III, how I think that it's kind of the pure form of sports these days, the way the professionals have gone. And I don't want to get too lost on that right now because, especially in this opening segment, I want to keep it up. But this is one of the purest levels of competition in collegiate sports, and I absolutely love it. The NAIA is such a fantastic league. It's a national league, and if you're not that familiar with it, we're going to help you get there because this is a lot of fun. There are, we call it 5-star talent with all-star character. And it's true. You see a lot of great athletes, student athletes at this level. And someone needs to talk about it. There's guys out there that talk about it that have large social platform followings that do such a great job at highlighting all the terrific players and the teams, the conferences. But this is a really legit league. And however, we are not officially a part of the NAIA, but in this show, the Buzzer Beater Show, we want to specifically speak to the NAIA and all it's doing. And no better time. My favorite sport is basketball. I love all the sports, but I'm just partial to basketball, so I can speak to it clearly. I watch a lot of these games, and it's a lot of fun. So the vision is to highlight a lot of these great small colleges across the nation and bring some attention to that, be a voice and a narrative that highlights all the great things these colleges are doing, these universities, and their athletic programs, which most are in what we call the NAIA, the National Athletic Intercollegiate Association, and or the National Association of Intercollegiate Athletics. It's one of those. I just know them as the NAIA, and it is a fantastic form. So our mission is to bring that message to you guys. Let you guys also speak to us as a show, and hopefully this is entertaining, but not just entertaining, informative, and help you learn about the league as we learn more about it as well. I've been watching this now for 15 years, and it is exciting, as you saw that call. Now that a lot of these schools are getting into broadcasting and streaming, we have access to a lot of this visual information about the league. So this is going to be a lot of fun. We'll bring you some clips, some highlights, some exciting interviews. Got a couple interviews on tap for today to really talk about how polls ratings work, the top 25, how that works. Got a great coaches interview for you in the Coaches Corner, and then just some fodder with just fun talk. So you're going to want to stay around, and you're not going to just watch me, but I got a team of guys, and I want to introduce a couple of those guys that will make appearances in this show and throughout the season. James Lex, our technical director. There he is on your right hand of the screen. And then Zach Nelson, he's our research and analytics expert. And we're going to talk about things in real time. We'll have some preset topics that we talk to you guys about and kind of guide our way. But we would like for you guys to chime in with us and tell us if you got a different opinion, because a lot of this is going to be opinion heavy. And I like to put my opinion out there, but I also like when people will have a dissenting opinion other than mine, and maybe these guys that you see on your screen will too. James, what's going on? You're over in the control room. You and Zach talk to the people. Let them know.
Yeah.
What else? What am I not covering that I should be covering in this?
Are we going to talk about how a free throw and that buzzer beater? How is he able to get that straight back to him? I mean, yeah. I feel like if you give him 1,000 more chances to win that game,
it is ridiculous.
He loses 999 of them.
I might would even give you 10,000 because that is really hard to do. What he pulled off
that's
under pressure, and he made it look so easy. Florida College, by the way, is legit. They were at that time a top 25. They barely dropped out of the top 25. I think they're going to get back in tomorrow. We're going to talk about ratings and polls and all that stuff in just a few minutes. We got an exciting interview with a outstanding expert in sports information, and so I'm very excited to bring that to you guys. Zach, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing good. Glad to be here.
Yeah, man. So Zach's just constantly researching. Another thing, he's monitoring all the
research.
comments that will be coming in through different platforms. So you guys, if you're watching on YouTube, just log in, get on that chat, and talk to us.
Talk
we'll feature
to me,
you.
man.
Yeah. Tell Zach to tell us, and we'll talk about it. We definitely want to be
Basketball
relevant.
talk.
Yep. This is specifically basketball talk, and we want to hear what you're thinking about things. We'll probably put it. There's Jack Kingston.
Working on him back too.
Man, yeah. He used to watch us back in the old days, pre-COVID days, I guess you could say. So glad to see you back, Mr. Kingston. I forget where he is from. I think he's up in Canada. So it's kind of weird.
NAIA fans in Canada. There are NAIA schools in Canada.
There are. Most of them are in the proper
Washington,
United.
right?
Yeah.
Or
in the south
Washington,
of Canada.
Yeah, South Canada. Yeah.
So NAIA, 21 basketball conferences. Did you guys know that?
No.
I know you know it, James. But Chat, did you know that? There are 21 conferences in the NAIA, and we will go through.
Coast.
Say it again, James.
I was just saying it's literally coast to coast. Like it's.
It's a national perspective. So, I have some opinions about how those work. It's funny, from sport to sport, football, all these other sports. There seems to be some conferences that excel exceptionally well at certain sports. Yeah. We're going to specifically talk about basketball, so you'll probably hear our opinions on maybe top 3, top 5 best ones, at least today. We'll talk about them all. There's some exciting conference play going on right now. It is ramped up. You're not just in the pre-conference season cupcake mode anymore.
Yeah, right.
And actually, we're finding more and more, a lot of these universities are not playing the cupcake schedules, maybe one at most. So also, we'll be talking to head coach for the Sagu Lions, Delton Deal. He was on, that was Sagu that took the loss in that opener clip, that buzzer beater clip to Florida College, and we're going to put him on the spot. I'm gonna grill him a little bit. Well,
come on.
I don't know if I'll grill him.
Kick a man when he's down.
He's a good guy. I mean, it's not like kicking him down. He understands the assignment, and
he does.
And I have communicated with him about that. We laughed a little bit after the sting of that very for Sagu at least unfortunate incident. The worst thing about it is they were up 22. So that's mind-blowing.
So up 22, and then you lose.
And then you
with
lose
the other team
like
hitting
that.
a free throw, going to the elbow, bank shot in.
Right.
Yeah.
Textbook. That's exactly how their coach drew it up.
Exactly.
And that was like 5 minutes, too. Like, they made that comeback, like 6, 7. Like, it wasn't like it was the whole second half to get all the way back in. So
the whole game was in the last 5 seconds anyway, if we put it at that point.
Well, yeah, if you forget, all the other stuff. And wow.
And the foul was good, too.
Incredible.
He fouls him, so you can only get 2 shots, and you think that's it, right?
Yeah, it was fun. Well, anyway, we're gonna grill him up and try to get him to talk about that stinger of a loss, and that's a little later. And then I had mentioned we'll talk with Sports Information Director of John Brown University, Nick Robinson. And so it's 2 Sooner Athletic Conference teams making their appearance on episode 1, season 2 of Buzzer Beater. And we have high opinions about the Sooner Athletic Conference. Historically, they've been one of the greatest basketball conferences. So kind of fitting that I don't know that we intentionally lined it up like that as we brainstormed how to do it, but it just kind of worked out that way. 2 of the great guys of the NAIA are going to talk to us about things. And so stick around. That is going to be very exciting. We'll also have some fun segments. I think Zach will bring us some questions like buy or sell.
Buy or sell.
Yeah.
Let me know what you want to do.
Yeah,
Put in the
yeah.
comments. Put in the chat.
Yeah, absolutely. If you got some questions
Jack,
about
you
the
have any
NAI, and it'll make more sense as we go forward and we start talking about some things. But I have had a tremendous watching experience over the last few weeks, trying to take in as many of the NAI games. And so I'll have on at home and at work, I'll have 4 monitors or a multi-monitor type setup where we'll bring in as many games as we can. And if you're hiding behind a paywall, well, probably not going to get to you, because I'm going to just go. There's so many universities out there that are doing it for free on YouTube, even Huddle TV now. So most of these games are free to watch, and if you follow
they're
us,
exciting, they're entertaining. They're not just
oh no, they highly
background
entertaining
music or background noise.
Yeah, no, it's this is a lot of fun to watch. So and it's a challenge to kind of watch multi games. We all have to kind of click in, because last Saturday, I believe it was, there were 99 games. Wow. 99 games
Holiday
played.
Season started early, huh?
and
it was men's basketball. Like, is that,
fun.
That's
that was just men's. Then another 99 or 100 on the women's side. So literally 400 teams playing that we're trying to digest. And thank goodness there are some awesome dudes out there beyond us that's been doing this a long time, that are following these things like NAIA hoops.
Hoops Report on Twitter, man.
Oh yeah, Hoops Dirt, NAIA Hoops Dirt, Ball NAIA. There's so many. We're going to post all those guys that are really following action closely, because we're not going to be able to, even at the Champion Sports Network, we would love to be able to bring you everything, all the news. It's just impossible. And I talked to some of those guys through some back channels, and I just get a lot of my information from them. If I need a shortcut, you guys look them up on Twitter, and or we'll probably post a link somewhere in our description of some of those other guys, because we genuinely want you to really get in to some great competition. And the NAIA, like Zach was saying, it is not background noise. It is up front, in your face, great talent. And a lot of these guys are high character guys. So they're doing big things off the court as well as on the court. And this is just going to be exciting. So that's kind of the overview, the big umbrella, or the 5,000-foot view, as people say, of what Buzzer Beater is going to be all about. And we want to tackle, we're going to get a little controversial. There's just no way around it.
There's already one in the comments right now with Jack.
Oh, what'd he say?
He said, buy or sell, Grace wins the championship undefeated.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. I don't know if I want to tackle that before or after the top 25 poll discussion. They are number one right now. And I have watched 3 of Grace's games. There it is. All right. I guess we're going to go there. Let's just jump in to the deep end of the pool and just take a gander. Top 25. Grace is 8-0.
Defeated right now.
Langston,
sizable points lead too in the votes over College of Idaho.
Yeah, okay. So I'm recognizing a couple things. I'm up to date. So you're coming off of, James, you have the last poll, which was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, that was November 29th, looks like.
Yeah. So a lot of things have happened. So, yeah, get a gander at that, because tomorrow the top 25 poll will change. It will change. I can tell you College of Idaho will not be number 2. Well, they better not be. They've taken a couple more L's. Langston still undefeated. Oklahoma Wesleyan took a big loss. And to be ranked number 4. So I don't think they really sink terribly. They may drop out of the top 5. But they're a really good team. Coached by a legend, by the way, Donnie Bostwick.
Yes.
If you guys don't know Donnie Bostwick, he's a legend in the NAIA. I think he sits. We're going to try to get him as a coach's interview in the Coach's Corner pretty soon. Not this episode, but hopefully pretty soon. So our crack staff will work on that. Let's see. Arizona Christian, very, very good. Georgetown, they are very good. But you know who
9-1.
Yeah, I want to say, look all the way down at 19 at Cumberland's. They are severely underrated.
Oh, wow. 10-0.
Severely underrated. And when I say, I think they're a top 5 team. So
points are
I
so
don't
low.
know if they will move up in the points, voting points up that high because of the way it kind of works. And we're about to get into that in just a minute. Understanding how this poll works is really where we need to begin. We're looking at it, and this is all about the change as far as the names you see in those slots tomorrow. The NAIA will officially release which I think is the 3rd poll. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is the 2nd one.
Research it.
And, yeah, and
it
I think the 3rd one will come out tomorrow. And I just know a lot of these positions will change. And then I'll give a little bit of opinion after we talk about how the poll works and get a good firm understanding. Then I think the 3 of us, we're going to chime in and actually start opinionating who should
Tomorrow,
be where. And then that will probably be where some of the controversy starts. All right, we're going to talk a lot about the men's poll. There is a women's poll, and women's basketball just as important as men's basketball.
Just want to say hi to Midwest Sports Net.
That's our guy, Joey, man. He is amazing. Follow Midwest Sports Net. We do get a ton of information from Joey and his crew at Midwest Sports Net. They're on Twitter. They're everywhere. They're on YouTube. He does a lot of great interviews. He's got a ton of content, man. He's a content creation machine. And
I'll be on there Thursday night, talk about the NAIA football championship coming up. So,
well, go ahead. Plug it, James, real quick.
Yeah.
What is that?
Yeah, so on Thursday night, it'll be me. We'll talk with, I believe, Vince DeLisi over at Varsity Sports Net. We're going to talk about the championship.
He's out of Arizona, right?
He's out of Arizona, yeah. He's on
He's an NBC guy,
station,
right?
Yeah,
Oh,
NBC
wow.
Radio. We'll talk about the NAIA championship game. We got Northwestern Kaiser. Bit of a rematch, but it's been an interesting playoff. You know, NAIA, they just went to 20 teams, which is quite a bit for football.
From 16, right?
From 16, unlike other associations that only let 4 in and leave out undefeated teams. But we won't go there right now. So we'll talk football on Thursday. So if you're into some college football, cheap shot, absolutely. But anyway, if you're into college football, go ahead and subscribe Midwest Sports Net. You'll see me on there Thursday night. We'll break down the championship game, give you our predictions.
Wow, James Lex. There is our football rep for Champion Sports Network. Does a lot of great work with these other guys. I just watch it like you guys and try to stay up to date on how that all is going. I got a lot of other things to cover, so we just have to pick our battles. And James is usually in the middle of everything, though. Let's see. That's women's poll. Okay, let's take a quick gander.
Well, rating it says up there.
Oh yeah, you're right. Those are don't get into my talking points, James.
Oh, well.
I got some talking points coming up with Nick Robinson, and we need to find out how all of this works. So don't steal any thunder yet. All right, I'm just digesting this real quick. I'm kind of making sure I'm up to date on what the top 25 in the women's poll looks like.
Yeah, I mean,
I can already see one that is not on there that I'm a fight for. let's see. And I don't want to spoil
Already?
it yet. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So again, tomorrow you'll see the new ratings come out for the women's basketball coaches top 25. All right. We're going to just take a 10-second break really, really quick. And we're going to be back with Sports Information Director Nick Robinson from John Brown University. This guy is the encyclopedia of NAIA knowledge. I mean, he is, you'll see. You will see. This guy right here can tell you almost anything about what the going-ons of the NAIA. And he's going to break down how the ratings and the polls work, what those words actually mean. And so I'm just going to kind of grill him and give him some questions and let him go at it. We'll be back in just about 10 seconds with that segment. You're watching the Champion Sports Network Buzzer Beater. All right, so now we're kind of shifting gears, and we're going to bring in a special guest, a really, really high IQ guy. And he's going to hate me for saying that, but it's true. And this is the kind of guy that makes your program better. And he's a sports information director, and that just means he knows everything about every sport that there is to know. And his name is Nick Robinson, and he is actually the sports information director for John Brown University. And there you can see him. And I had to break a few arms and pull a lot of teeth to get Nick to be on this program because he's in such high demand. But there he is, and we're going to now dogpile on what we call the top 25 in NAIA basketball. And it's not that we're going to talk about who's in the top 25 specifically. Before we do that, we just need to know, how do we get to a top 25? So first of all, welcome, Sir Nick. Thank you for being on Buzzer Beater and taking a little bit of time out of your very busy schedule. Just tell the crowd, what's up? Just give us we want to hear your voice.
John, it's a pleasure to be with you today. That introduction was way too generous to my liking.
Not even close.
But I'm happy. I'm happy to be invited to talk about NAIA hoops with you, and hopefully we can talk about some things that make some of these processes that maybe initially appear maybe behind closed doors or maybe behind kind of a cloud of mystery, bring that to the folks, and so they can have a working knowledge of how this works as we get into really the core part of our basketball seasons this year.
Yeah, I agree. And it can be a little confusing first of all, it's the NAIA. So there's a lot of NCAA rules that are in general just apply. And then there's little nuanced rules and the way we go about things here in the NAIA that just aren't known. And that's why we bring on experts like you to clear things up. So first, the top 25 is in men's. Let's talk about it. There is a men's and women's top 25. Are those exactly the same? The way they go?
That's right. Well, in the way that they work, they're the same, but in the way that they're used, it's actually different. So the men's side of things are actually piloting a program that's beginning this year. And what they're doing is they're basically divorcing the selections for the national tournament from the top 25. And so if folks head over to NAIA.org on their leisurely time to check out the polls that are posted there, you'll notice that the men are actually referred to as a top 25 poll, but the women are referred to as a top 25 rating. And that nuance in terminology is intentional because a poll is public only. So that is to say, hey, these are a group of coaches selections for that edition of the top 25. While the women's top 25 is produced the same way, the usage of that information is actually much more important, at least for this year. And that's going to include using that as a metric for a primary or secondary form of information that the National Selection Committee uses to choose all of the at-large teams for the 64-team field for the national tournament.
All right. So if I heard that right, there are it's hard not to say the poll, but the men's are a poll.
Yeah, but
right?
The women's is the rating.
And then the women's is the rating. So on the poll, and I did notice this when we looked up the way we get what's actually on the poll itself. It says not, I don't know the exact wording, but something like not used for seating or something like that, right? So is this just something they do for fun?
Well, for the men's side of things, I think you could make the argument that, yes, that's pretty accurate, because historically the top 25 has been a major metric in the national since we've gone to a national selection committee. That has been a major metric in every sport in the NAIA. But like I said, the men are piloting, and actually women's lacrosse is the other sport that's piloting this program. That's kind of divorcing that poll/rating from what is to be considered for those at-large berths for the national tournament. And while it is a good metric, I think we have a lot of tools available to the coaches that are and the committee members that are on the National Selection Committee that maybe make it a little bit redundant.
Okay, so you said a lot there. I think there's a few things to unpack. So before we get too attached to numbers on a poll, walk me through, if you know, I think you probably do better than I. Walk me through how a selection committee is like. What is a selection committee? How does that work? Where do these votes come from?
Well, I think first what we need to talk about before we get kind of to that national level is bring it down just a little bit.
Okay.
Because the NAIA uses what are called area ranking committees. Those are affectionately known as ARCs. And those are 6 regions of the country divided up so that each of the ARCs contains either 3 or 4 conferences within those ARCs, so within the different regions. And then that is then used as a primary or secondary criteria when the National Selection Committee chooses the at-large berths. But just basically the ARC is, there's 6 of them. There's the North Central, the Midwest, the West, the Great Lakes/South, the Southwest, and the Southeast.
Whoa.
And so those contain either 3 or 4 conferences. And so 5 times a year, these 6 committees get together. Each conference is represented with that, along with one kind of at-large independent person, and they rate the teams that are in their ARC and then push that up to the national level so that the folks who are on the National Selection Committee have this season-long conversation so that we can see there are ebbs and flows to the season for each of these programs out there. But there's 5 rankings per year. And if you have 4 conferences in your ARC, you submit 16 teams to the national level. And then if you have 3 teams in your ARC, you submit 12 that go upwards. And then those are used as primary and secondary criteria when choosing at-large berths. But then that kind of leads us into the National Selection Committee.
Okay.
And the reason why I had to talk about the ARC prior to that is because each ARC chair has a voice in the room or a vote when it comes to the National Selection Committee. So essentially, each of the geographical regions, and therefore all of the conferences, have a voice at the national level. So each of the ARC chairs are on that National Selection Committee. And then there's a couple at-large folks that are on there as well. And those can vary between former coaches, former administrators, sports information directors. The men have chosen a selection from the NABC, which is the National Association of Basketball Coaches, to be on that committee. So there's a group of 11 or 13, depending on how that's structured per sport, and they're the ones that make those final selections, because each conference has at-large berths. Now, if your conference is fewer than 10, you get one at-large, or I should say at least 6, okay? And then if you're over 10, you get 2 at-large berths. So once you have all of those at-large berths determined, and that is based on whatever the conference chooses, so that can be a regular season tournament, or a regular season champion, a tournament champion, a regular season runner-up, a tournament runner-up. The conferences get the autonomy to choose those, okay? And then once those automatics are put into the field of 64, then the National Selection Committee has the responsibility of choosing the rest of the field. And that is where all of these different components come into when making those selections. Now, remember, we used to be 2 divisions in basketball. We've recently gone to 1 division. So fielding a 64-team field is a much more daunting task than perhaps a 32. Whereas you could argue some teams might get left out that feel like they should really get in with a 32-team field. A 64-team field eliminates that. But once you start going down the ladder, so to speak, it can become very muddy on which teams deserve to be in those last 15, 20, 25 slots. But that's where all of these primary and secondary criteria come in to help that committee make those decisions.
Wow, that's a lot to kind of remember, especially if you're new. I'm not new, and Nick, you've enlightened me quite a bit. I have so many questions about that. I know we can't get to all of them today, but
would you like to talk about the RPI real quick? That's a really important metric.
Yeah, it is. There was something interesting you said about the conferences. The conferences are left the autonomy to choose how the automatic bids work, right? So I've only heard of your season champ and your tournament champs, or if they are the same, then it's the runner-up of the tournament. That's the only way I've ever heard it done. So is there possibly a different way, or is that just universally the way all conferences work?
Right. So the conference does have the autonomy. And if you're talking about basketball, I'm pretty sure that's how it works in most of the conferences, if not all. But there are conferences that have gotten so large that they feel that the runner-up of the regular season is a better body of work.
Wow.
Than how a team did in 1 week in late February.
Mm-hmm.
So there are instances of regular season runners-up being that when the tournament and regular season champion are the same, then the second one, there are some conferences that choose their regular season runner-up. And that's just by virtue of having some of these large conferences like the Heart of America.
Yeah. Wow. And there's 21, so most, I don't know that we'll find out factually, but most conferences have more than 10 in them. So they're going to get 2 automatic bids at least.
The NAIA publishes a qualification plan each summer for all of the sports, and that's available on NAIA.org. And you can check out all 21 conferences with all the teams that are in them.
Awesome. Yeah. And we'll try to include some of these links in below, I guess is how we would say it. But All right, you mentioned RPI. That's exciting to me because I'm an analytic. I like computers. I like numbers. I like to geek out on that kind of stuff. And so are you, I think you're about to tell me that the NAIA has some kind of RPI, which is
They do.
crazy.
They do. And this is where I'm going to plug sports information directors just briefly.
All right, do it.
But the statistical record keeping and reporting, because it's no good if you keep it, but if you don't report it, then,
Okay, fair.
Then
Yeah.
If the tree fell, did anyone notice? This is huge because you could make the argument that the top 25 rating poll in the ARC, those can be considered, in layman's terms, maybe the eye test. In terms of what are people seeing from these teams. But the RPI gives us an opportunity to take into consideration what are the numbers telling us, okay? And the RPI has a couple of weighted items in that final number that is produced for each team in the NAIA. And that includes things like strength of schedule, the win percentage, and then what's called net efficiency. And that net efficiency is just the difference between your offensive efficiency and your defensive efficiency. And inside of those is essentially how efficient you are at both of those, and then the relationship between the two. So those kind of numbers really start showing some of the granular data on teams that maybe have a really high offense, but they're giving up a ton of points a year. Or teams that maybe don't score a lot, but they've got an incredible defense, so they're getting these victories. So those numbers give the National Selection Committee the opportunity to dig into those numbers a little bit deeper. And those numbers that are produced for the RPI are primary and secondary criterias that are used by the National Selection Committee. So that's where the record keeping and the record reporting are vital. Ironically, you think, oh, this is just taking stats at a basketball game.
Yeah.
This could play a role on if your team is that the last four in or the first four out.
Yeah. And not enough praise or even acknowledgement, I think. I've been around athletics all my life, collegiate athletics now for quite a while. Not enough acknowledgement goes to the SIDs at any level. They are the backbone of how athletics work. I mean, obviously it takes the players and then the coaches, the athletic directors to lead the organization. But inside of all that, there's this engine. And I always make a philosophical argument that not that many people would be big fans and follow sports if it wasn't for statistics. And statistics are just a part, just one of the spokes in the wheel of things that you do, Nick. I know that, and I've been around, but it is a major component, and you got to get them right. It's really built on getting it right. And we can't even really talk about polls or ratings or rankings or anything like that if you don't have a system that gets the numbers right from the games. And that's a big part. So I'd like to, stand up, applaud all of you guys. In my opinion, I haven't met most SIDs. I just know a few, but you guys work really, really long hours and very hard. I want to say thank you, at least on the behalf of the Champion Sports Network, for all you do. It's amazing. And you, Nick, are amazing at what you do. There's so many things I love to pick your brain about, and you help me understand more and more, especially about NAIA culture and how it works. One final question. I know you've got a limited time here, but the women and men's you had mentioned early on are a little bit different. Is it the same process, or are they going to work pretty quickly to get men and women to the same equator here on how they get to rankings, pollings, whatever we want to call it? Ultimately, it goes into seedings and how the tournament is constructed. Are they going to get close together pretty soon?
It's hard to tell, to be honest with you. Again, this is a pilot program that the men are doing. It very well could have easily been men's soccer and women's lacrosse, and we wouldn't be having this discussion. Why are the men and women different?
Yeah.
So it's really hard to tell. I think we'll have some proof in the pudding, so to speak, once we get a field of 64 selected come March. But I think what the NAIA is attempting to do is remove perhaps some of the politicking that perhaps occurs at every level in a national poll.
Yeah.
Right. And perhaps making it more so that the voices and the teams that need to be discussed start at the ground level in the area ratings committees and work their way up that way. And then once they make it to the national level, you then have all of these supporting figures and documentation. So it could be something that some other sports, even the women perhaps, maybe jump on next year because they said, hey, this was a huge success for the men. This could be something that this is a one-year anomaly. So it is really hard to tell right now at this point.
So no RPI in the women, or is RPI being explored everywhere? In all sports.
Yes. So the RPI is used in select sports. It is very important in sports like basketball and soccer. Okay. And the committees, the National Selection Committee has the NAIA, this is hoops specifically, broken down into 4 quadrants. And you've got your first quadrant, which is your top 50, your second quadrant, which is 51 through 100. You got your third quadrant, which is 101 through 150. And then the fourth quadrant is 151 through, there's approximately 216 teams being fielded this year in the NAIA. Wins, losses, margin of victory, all those things against quadrant 1 teams, and that's based on the RPI, right? That is a huge benefit to teams when being discussed at the National Selection Committee. That is a primary criteria. If things get really in the weeds and it's really hard to differentiate between a couple teams as you're getting towards the bottom of the tournament, quadrant 2 will then be used as a secondary criteria. So that's including kind of what a team has done across the top 100 teams. And that's essentially the top half of the NAIA.
Yeah.
So that's a large bit of information, but sometimes in order to ensure that we do our best to get the best teams in the field of 64, sometimes you have to go that deep.
Yeah. Well, and that is such great information. Thanks for taking the time, Nick, to help break that down for us. That was awesome. I'm going to have to, I'm sure, rewatch this just to be able to make some notes. And you should publish a white paper or something on this and make it easy. Because there's quite a bit to digest, especially when you think women's and men's right now, at least this year, are slightly different in how we view it, how the seedings come out. But that's going to be a big part of what we do here at Buzzer Beater, is especially as we get close to the end of February and predicting. That's a lot of fun to predict who's going to show up. And the usual suspects will be there, but I think it's that 50 through 14 or maybe 40 through 14 who there's going to be a lot of bubble teams and how we get there. And so I've kind of created this little index called the Champion Sports Performance Index. It's not quite like the RPI. We don't really take strength of schedule into it, but it's not supposed to show up as a ranking type of system, top to bottom, but more along the lines when you look at it. These two teams are playing. What is their CPI number will kind of predict who's going to win. And I'm not saying we're using to bet anything on it or anything. There's no betting in NAIA, but
it's always fun to prognosticate.
Or maybe a dinner, And
that's right.
Anyway, you come to us. Siloam Springs. I'm assuming you're in Siloam Springs right now. It's kind of the end of the semester up there at JBU, right?
Yes, that's correct. We've got a couple of men's hoops exhibition matches coming up here. We've got a D2 next Monday, and then the following day we'll be playing at Division I Oral Roberts over in Tulsa. So those are always fun.
Yeah.
And earlier this season, the men actually played Baylor and had a very strong showing, very impressive. Especially the men here. Obviously, the women are doing very well. They're 5-0 for the second time ever in program history at the top of the league standings. And the men are just able to schedule some of these exhibition games that are just really fantastic when you get to play some D1 schools. That's just a lot of fun for everybody.
Yeah, I'm going to keep my eye on that. You guys have a good team, men's team and women's team. So this is going to be a lot of fun during this season. We are definitely going to follow John Brown University and all they do. A little shout out to your big man, Gabani, or is it Jabani? I'm not.
No, you got it, Lucas Gabani.
Gabani, yeah, man. That guy, he's special, and he's going to be a handful. He's going to be hard to stop. So Sooner Athletic Conference, John Brown University. It's a treat if you guys out there can check them out. They've got some really good basketball going on this year. I know it's early, and you want to probably knock on some wood, Nick, when you hear other people talking good about your program. But they're a lot of fun to watch. I've called 2 games already, and both were extremely fun to watch. Thank you so much for taking the time to be with us and break down how the top 25 works. And now we're going to get into the top 25. We will be right back after about 15 seconds of station identification. Giving us a brain full of information, but much needed. The foundation needed to be set, and for better understanding. I learned a lot of things in that interview. I'm not even sure why the men and women have to be different, and I don't know. Questions I think I need to ask a lot of others, and maybe you guys know, so chime in. Make sure if you want to talk to us through the chat engine on YouTube, you got to log in, so make sure you do that. Also, before we get into just opinionating on top 25, share this Twitter link or this YouTube. Text it to your friends. If you're in the NAIA, you're a player, you're a coach. Let everyone know what's going on. This is exciting for the student athletes and the coaches and the NAIA. And we need to all team up and talk about this loudly and get some buzz going. We need to turn up the microphone just a little bit. I guess the pun was intended, but let's. It's such a fantastic organization and such great people. It is a great story to talk about and tell. So make sure you tell your family, friends, watch, and talk about this. Get in tune. We're not the only resource for information on the NAIA. Of course, you can go to NAIA.org website, like Nick was saying. There's a lot of great information there. But if you want to get outside and get some neutral or independent thought, Champion Sports Network is a good place. And a plethora of, well, maybe not a plethora, but quite a few guys out there talking about all the different sports, highlighting the NAIA. All right, let's get into the fun stuff. Top 25 polls. All right, we'll tackle men first. And we talked about how this is a poll that is generally presented now as not a commitment by the NAIA to seedings for the end of the year, but it's for the greater knowledge base of who are the top teams out there, who are doing really well. Now, I have found over the years that this is not greatly indicative of who is doing the best in real time, but over maybe a month period of time. And some of these pole positions, I guess you could say, are a little late to arrive. And so tomorrow you're going to see a new top 25 come out. Actually, they will list all the teams that are receiving votes, but 26 through 40, James, I don't know if you can tell me how deep that goes. I think they go 35 or 40 deep, so you can know who the top 40. Now, let me back up real quick. In men's NAIA basketball, there are 222 teams. 222. In women's, there's 224, I believe. And I'm not sure why the difference is there, but just a couple more teams on the women's side.
We're going to do some research on something.
All right, yeah. Get Zach busy.
You got the number on how deep these polls go down?
But
no, he's working on it.
Yeah, I think it's like 35 or 40. So, but everyone talks about the top 25. So, and we talked about this is purely voting points. So the coaches and the raters begin to record who they think are the top. I don't want to say it's purely a popularity contest here, because it's not. You got a lot of guys that know what they're doing, coaches, i.e., and they should have a good sense, but they can't watch all the games. They're busy. And so they depend on their network of comrades in the whole basketball industry, NAIA specifically, to let them know who's good, who's not. So some of it's just opinion by friends and network associates. We, however, have come up with our own RPI type of understanding. And I want to be careful how I frame this. So the CS, Champion Sports Performance Index, is an algorithm that we've created to pick out some of the data in the stat lines that will be added together, and some given more weight than others, and really it starts to work better when all teams have played at least 10 games. So we're limping along right now because it's so early in the season. Not all teams have played 10 games. I mean, you see LSU Shreveport there at the time of this poll come out 2 weeks ago. They had only played 4 games. So it's going to ultimately be better when everybody gets the same or at least 10 games of data inputted. So we will admit right off the cuff that because of the gameplay disparity, it's not exactly right, but it gets really close. And I tell my guys, this performance index does not really indicate rankings, although I think you can get a good idea. it was built to really see what teams should win if they face off. So we built this interactive tool that allows you to place one team in competition with another team. And then it spits out a point value. And the point value is going to tell you not necessarily what the point of the game is, but it shows you a point spread. And you can kind of see who should win. And really, that's kind of where we started with. Who is most likely to win the game? I will tell you, out of 50, a sample size of 50, which is not a lot because there are a lot of games being played, but out of 50 games we put in the predictor, 48 of them were right. So we feel like we're on the right track with this performance index. And one game I do want to talk about, which is interesting, is you see number 16 there on the poll, Morningside. They're a really good team. They're a really, really good team. And a team that you don't see in the poll, Jamestown. They played last week, and Jamestown wins. Well, the performance index predicted Morningside to win by 8 to 10 points. And it was the other way around. Jamestown comes in, or Morningside traveled up to Jamestown University, which is a fantastic gym. If you can watch any of their games, it's an exciting place. It got a big fan base, a great gym. Matter of fact, my sources, tell. Is it true that Zach? I want to make sure I get this right, but Zach, did you go to Jamestown?
Did I went there my freshman year of college.
Oh, and you played football up there. Is that right?
Played football for Jamestown. Yes, I did.
Oh, wow.
And you're not lying about their gym. It's one of the best gyms I ever seen.
So you've seen it in person?
Yes, multiple times. It's one of those. Wow. It's one of those events where the whole community goes out and watches a basketball game, even the volleyball games. It's
Jamestown, is that in the Dakotas?
North Dakota, yep.
North Dakota.
Almost as north as you can go.
Oh, my God. Without being in Canada.
It's like on the border?
Oh, my goodness. So almost a Canadian team. But
basically.
Worse than that, you're down here with us in Texas, and it's extreme heat here. Yeah.
Polar opposites.
So I can only imagine there's like 30 feet of snow during the winter.
Oh, there's only 2 seasons out there in North Dakota.
Okay.
Tell you that much.
Winter?
But it does not stop the fans. It does not at all. The
Interesting.
gym is packed. The gym is big too.
And that's a big gym. Oh man, I love that facility. I've only seen it on a camera angle, but it is beautiful.
It's and state of the art.
Yeah, it looked like it. And we're off on here's how the rabbit trails go, right? We're talking about Jamestown University and their magical win. The Jimmies got over Morningside, who was higher rated by far, and the CPI predicted Morningside would win. Now we're talking about how great the facilities are. But I will add, they've got a great broadcast that goes on, some commentary that is a lot of fun to listen to. But I noticed on YouTube, at the same time, you could watch their hockey game. They have a hockey arena up there.
Hockey, yes.
in the NAIA. That is, I haven't even thought, because we don't really cover hockey, and maybe we should, because I would imagine up in the northern tier, hockey is amazing. And I don't think we mentioned, but Nick Robinson, our previous guest, he's a hockey star. And he played up at D3 school. We talked about it off the mic, and he was playing for Calvin College, I believe, or Calvin University up in Michigan. Yeah. Oh, well, yeah, I definitely want to have, and Nick's got to be a returner. But anyway, there's a lot of hockey goes on. These schools have big hockey arenas. They have brand new basketball facilities. And we just happened to have a personal encounter, and one of our guys, there you go, Zach Nelson right there, has firsthand experience. Yeah.
There it goes right there.
Oh, look at it. Dude, that is so amazing. I love that.
I like the fact that the stands are close enough to where you can feel as much involved as you can.
Yeah. There was a lot of cheering going on, not a ton of fans in there because there was a big basketball game going on at the same time of that. But I don't know if you guys can bring up the basketball like the Morningside game. I'm sure it's on YouTube, and you can see this great facility. Look at that. That is beautiful.
It is.
That is just, it is really cool. And yeah, that's the Morningside Jamestown game. And Morningside started to make a comeback there at the end. Spoiler alert if you haven't watched it. But the Jimmies won, and they beat number 16 Morningside. All right, let's go back to the polls. The polls are going to change tomorrow because the new poll comes out. But it is not like in women's, it's a rating, and they use a little more science in it than just the optic test and the word of mouth test. They have both in women's. So their poll is slightly different, and they don't call it a poll. They call it the top 25 rating. And they both exist on points, but the way you get those points are a little bit different. I'm not going to rehash what Nick already told us, but if you want a really good foundation of understanding how these coaches' top 25 ratings and polls work, just go back. And we'll probably clip out that segment, put it on YouTube and on the socials so that people, because it's something that's really important to know as you begin to build your knowledge base about how the NAIA works. But Campbellsville, all right, while we're on this, I had mentioned earlier a team that is not in the top 25 that I think absolutely is a top 25 team, probably a top 15 team that is not getting any love right now. But I think our CSPI will attest to this, is John Brown University. And I didn't talk about this with Nick, but they are very good and very underrated. Sooner Athletic Conference has a strong women's basketball collective there. And I think John Brown University is going to be near the top when it's all said and done. I wouldn't be surprised if they popped in to the top 25 tomorrow. All right, go back to the men's outlook. And let's talk about Grace. You guys were talking about, I think I overheard a little conversation, some talking fodder earlier, either yesterday or today, about Grace. James, did you have a question on
Yeah.
what was your question? I heard you guys talk. I kind of came in late on that conversation. But I heard you talking about Grace.
Yeah, someone had brought up on, let me see if we can bring it up, but someone had brought up on, this comment right here. Buy or sell, Grace wins the championship. Undefeated all the way, which is what's up, Joey? But that's a long way to go, especially in the NAIA, to go undefeated all the way.
Okay, go back to the polls.
Yeah.
Let's look at the polls.
Let's see. Give me a second.
So Grace, undefeated. Man, I've watched several of their games. They are good. They are really, really good. In our CSPI report, the latest one, it says that Grace is number 2. They are reporting, or the analytics, I should say, it's not a day, it's a computer, and it's the algorithm and the analytics are talking. Olivet Nazarene is up there.
Yeah.
Right? They may have a loss. So as long as you're undefeated, you have a right to be in the top 5. And there's very few undefeated teams left anymore.
Yeah, not many.
College of Idaho has lost at least one more, maybe 2 more. So I know they were great last year, and I'm gonna get pushed back from Cascade on this. I get it, but and I know that's a tough conference up there. Not a top 3 conference though.
Easy
what?
Montana Tech. And
Are you saying?
I guess they're not.
Cascade. I think Montana Tech's Frontier.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
No.
Frontier's tough. Frontier is really tough.
Yeah.
College of Idaho and Cascade, not a top 3 conference. And I think they got a lot of early love, and it's hard to move down once you get real high. Right. But they got a couple losses, maybe a third loss. I see reason for moving College of Idaho maybe out of the top 25. It's still receiving votes, but I watched a game. They didn't look real sharp. I don't want to base it all off of one game. So I'm moving them way down. And oddly enough, CPI or CSPI doesn't even have them in the top 50. So performance index is pretty low on them.
I do have that if you want to look at it.
Oh, yeah. If you want to throw at least some, I don't know, can you zoom in? Grace, though, your question was, are they going to go undefeated? Crossroads, top 3 conference. Somewhere, 1, 2, or 3. They are very, very tough. I think right now, if I were to predict top 3 conferences, it would be number 1, the Sun Conference. The Sun Conference, yeah.
There's not a Sun team until, I guess, down at Ave Maria. It's
all right. You're just going to have to kind of take my word for it.
Okay.
On this. But, and
the eye test a little bit.
For sure, a guy that's been watching basketball for more years than you've been alive. All right. So there's that. I just lay that at your feet.
Wow.
All right. So, you got to take the old man's word for it.
Yeah, I just played the old man card. I've been here longer. I know
this
better.
I did it.
And I'm not saying you're wrong.
You can argue.
I'm not saying you're wrong. We bring up the
But you're not saying I'm right. What's more important? All right. No, I get it.
Yes,
I get it.
yeah.
No, matter of fact, I want pushback. I want someone to argue
one.
this.
I mean, I would expect that team to be at the top.
Yeah.
Rating, eye test. Like, there is no doubt that the best team.
Okay, but if you have one,
maybe that's just
that's not fair. I mean, you got one dominant force in a conference, and it doesn't make the whole conference. And I'm talking about the conference on a whole, not a single team. Sun Conference is kind of ridiculous. And you guys just need to watch. Keep your eye on the Sun Conference. I get it. And Ave Maria is popping up in top 10 for us right now. They're not even the best team. So I know they're showing up. But you got to also use this is where the CSPI will kind of not hold up because we're not very deep. I think that when we get deeper, this thing gets more accurate. All right.
Yeah, data,
and remember, it's predicting who wins if you play certain teams, certain matchups. So I guess it's kind of, and you're not seeing the total score because it goes all the way over and we can't show it. I get it. We'll post that and maybe we'll have if we could create a live link to actually access that, and you guys could play around with it, put one team against another. That'll be a lot of fun when you guys, the viewers, can get to play with that as well. But right now, we're just going to kind of look at it for what it is. Southwestern over at KCAC. They're very good. They got 2 really, really good teams. Oklahoma Wesleyan in the KCAC, Kansas City Athletic Conference. And Southwestern. Southwestern beat Oklahoma Wesleyan.
Oh, right here, yeah.
And so you're not seeing OKWU show up in the top echelon. This is going to list out all 222 teams, by the way.
Yeah, it'll keep going.
Yeah. So, and we don't have a number indicative of what their rank is. You'd have to count it out. But Southwestern is one of those teams that are underrated, that are really performing at a high rate. So keep your eye on them. Ave Maria is very, very good. Kaiser's very good. Florida College, man, we opened up the show with the Florida College clip beating a great Sooner Athletic team, the number 2 team in the Sooner Athletic Conference, with the buzzer beater. And they've knocked off some really big teams. So I'm gonna put the Sun number 1. You guys argue me down. That's fine. I can take it. Number 2, I'm gonna say Crossroads right now. Crossroads. So I'm gonna give that love back to Grace. But there is a lot more going on in Crossroads than just Grace. Grace happens to be the king of the hill right now. Yeah. And we'll talk a little bit about some players. Their top player, Elijah Malone, is, wow.
He's a handful.
To
say the least.
He's on the very short list, and you're not going to find him in your top. Like if you go and look up points per game or whatever, you're going to scroll down quite a ways to find him. But I'm going to tell you, at the end of the day, he's the guy that I think is most feared to play against in the NAIA. There's a few guys. There's a very short list. Elijah Malone is at the top of that list as far as maybe player of the year in the NAIA. I mean, we got a lot of season left to play, and I guess I could be. So that's my early prediction is Elijah Malone for player of the year. There's a couple more, and go back to the poll, the men's poll. You'll see Langston. I think Langston needs to be number 2.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I guess, you said College of Idaho. You're going to drop it.
I'll drop this on you. And if you don't follow it all, you're going to go, whatever. There's a great argument that Langston should be number 1.
Excuse me?
No,
Langston at number 1?
Yeah. Langston at number 1. They got a kid, last name Roy, down there. He's a transfer student, but bro.
Okay, I've heard good things about Roy. I've seen Malone throw down on Division I. Was it Purdue? I think.
Yeah, Purdue.
Yeah.
I mean, destroyed.
That is, you're not going to see that in a regular season matchup, Langston Grace, but that will be that will be a showdown if that ever happens. Roy, as a team, it is hard to compare these two teams, but I don't know how other teams will overcome the stifling defense of Langston. You got some great offensive power in Grace, but the stifling defense, that is going to be your classic offense meets great defense, great offense meets great defense matchup. So just keep that in your hat. I say we see both of these teams 1 and 2 at the end of the year. Will they go undefeated? That's going to be hard to do because both my number 3 conference, top 3, is the Sooner Athletic Conference.
Sooner. Wow.
Absolutely. Are you kidding me? Look at that, man. Langston, Sagu, USAO, who was, Sagu beat USAO. I don't know what to think about that because USAO comes in last night and hammers MAC-U. That was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
And then you got Wayland. Wayland's ranked number 10 in the nation. Now, I don't want to say I think that's absolutely fake. That was based on some information from last year. They may drop out of the top 25. They've taken a couple L's that they shouldn't have. So they got a couple bad losses to be a number 10 team. You have to just say it's bad losses. They're not playing up to their potential. And I think they need to start playing some potential basketball, what we think they are, for them to really start getting poll love, like top 25 love. So I moved Wayland out of the top 25. I probably move Sagu from 27 to 25. Could be fair. I mean, they took a beat down from Langston. Might be an anomaly, might not be. Langston's that good, man. And Coach Wright is ridiculous what he's got that team doing.
Yeah, it's
if there's a team out there that can beat Grace, it's definitely Langston.
Yeah, that's true. There are not going to be many. The only way Grace is going to lose is someone's going to get like they're just going to have a flu or something, and it's going to be a down game.
Yeah,
and the couple calls don't go their way. Someone gets in foul trouble early. And then maybe you've got a shot at the end, and you're going to have the buzzer beater. Yeah. And that's how – but it is not going to be we're just going to roll in.
Here's another statistic on Grace.
That's not
their backcourt, their guard play is outstanding. It's probably changed because I haven't re-looked at the numbers since the last game. But they were 76 assists, just the backcourt, the two guards. 76 assists to 12 turnovers. That is unbelievable.
That's a NBA 2K numbers right there. That doesn't seem real.
No, that's a video game right there. I don't know how long they'll be able to hold that pace, but no matter what, it's always going to be the best. I mean, it's going to take them a lot of just error. I don't think they have it in them to play with that much error. They play error-free basketball,
and then they got all the first place votes too, like in this poll for good reason, because it's not just a one-man show.
Elijah Malone is ridiculous, right?
He is, but it's not like
and he's unselfish. This guy is. You could just tell he sits down. He's like, when you guys need me, I'm here for you, and I'm going to dunk on everybody.
Yeah, if you take him off the court, where does Grace rank in this poll? Like, let's just say he's not playing that game. Are they still number one? I mean, they're still top what?
They're top 15 team.
Yeah, like even without that just shows again the depth.
Oh no, they can win without him.
Yeah,
make no mistake, they can. They have other players that we're just not highlighting that yet. Yeah. But they have a lot of great other players that can really play. I move Oklahoma Wesleyan out of the top 10. They lost to Southwestern. I move Southwestern to 10.
Better be above Oklahoma Wesleyan this next poll. That needs to happen. That needs to happen.
I don't have because I know how the polls work now. I don't know if I see the move, but you got a legendary coach there in Donnie Bostwick. I don't know if he's the Raider for his conference or not, but possibly. I don't know. They should be. They should be maybe Oklahoma Wesleyan. I put them at 13, 14, 15, somewhere in that. They're top 15. Southwestern so far, I think, deserves the number 10 spot. Wayland drops all the way out. Indiana Wesleyan, they have 2 losses. I can't put 2-loss team in top 10. Just can't. But they're 11. They're really good.
I was gonna say for a 2-loss team, Indiana Wesleyan.
They're really good.
Great athletics program all around there. But I agree with you. There is this point you do have to acknowledge wins and losses.
Indiana Southwest, I think, or Southeast. Indiana Southeast. Ooh, those guys are good. Those guys are Crossroads is ridiculous, man. Yeah. River States, they're really good too. They've got a lot of really good teams. I think Indiana Southeast is in River States, I believe.
You look that up, Zach? Where's what conference Indiana Southeast?
They're not even in the polls, and people are missing the boat on them. Georgetown, really good. Definitely top 10 team.
Yeah.
But here's one. Here's
River State. Wait, IU Southeast is River State's?
Yeah, that's what I said.
Oh, what?
The River State's. Yeah, all the
it's
IU
so confusing
teams.
because it's IU. I don't.
No. Indiana is River State's. Yeah. Ohio and River State's. I mean, Grace is in Indiana. It's Taylor, Indiana. No, they're not. Are they in the same conference as Taylor? Is Taylor in Crossroads?
Oh man, I think they're WAC.
Yeah, they're so WAC.
It's tough. They're all those conferences are like bunched up there.
Wolverine Hoosier Athletic Conference, the River States, and the Crossroads have a lot of blend. There are some crossover as far as travel goes, and you got Indiana teams in you would think they would all line up in the same conference. They don't. All right. So let me get through this top 25. I'm moving teams out, moving teams in. My eyes are
right? You keep
failing
Shreveport
me.
in top 25.
Oh,
7th spot. I mean,
are you saying is Shreveport top 5?
top 10.
Well, there's 7.
I mean, there's 7. Well, I'm saying where you think they should be here. Like,
Oh,
you're saying Shreveport top
7.
10.
Lock them in at 7.
Just lock them in there. That's good.
They're good.
Okay.
They're really good. Hey, Red River up this year. Stock price up this year.
Okay.
For sure.
Red River always has like 1 or 2 really good teams, and
they
feel
got
like,
more. They got more now.
Okay, because I feel like
more.
3 or 4, it kind of maybe not as strong as other conferences, but you're saying
no. Xavier, Loyola, LSU, Alexandria. That's all the Louisiana teams. They're awesome. That's a tough conference. Let's see. I'd say lock LSUS in at 7. Arizona Christian, I'm moving. I don't know. I'm not buying it. I'm just not buying it.
What are you not buying?
Arizona Christian.
You're not buying Arizona Christian?
They're good. Don't get me wrong. I've only seen one game though.
Well.
So I hate to just put it on a small sample size like that, but maybe top 15.
Yeah.
Maybe
they lost
top
to
15.
Multnomah last week. So.
Yeah, Multnomah's good, by the way. That's Cascade, I believe. They're good. Multnomah's coming along, and I think they're underrated. But the most underrated team in America right now in the NAIA. Yeah. I'm going to give you a second to think. You guys put it in chat, whatever your thought. Most underrated team in the NAIA right now. Right now, like as of we're December 12th.
I feel like you're going to pick like number 25 or something like that, like down there in that like 20 to 25 range. You're going to surprise us with one of them.
No.
Xavier going all the way this year.
No, I think it's obvious if you kind of look at it. But CSPI predicts it, and this team should be number 3 in the nation.
Okay.
They're in the top 25, but they should be number 3. And I call them the most underrated team in the nation. Cumberland's.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Cumberland's.
I see that.
Bro.
Yeah.
That is a fun team. If you can watch a game, like go to the Presto NAIA scoreboard site for men's basketball. I think if you Google search NAIA men's basketball scoreboard, you'll get a link that goes, and that scoreboard's kind of cool. You could go in and look at the games coming up today. You can go back in history. You can look at all the games are in there. And if you can see one, they stream their home games. They are fun to watch, James.
Yeah.
Fun.
Cumberland's.
Yeah, I didn't know that, man, and I kept seeing them win.
It's Kentucky.
And win.
It is
Kentucky basketball.
I mean,
it is the west side of Tobacco Road, where real basketball is played. So I'm a North Carolina boy. So save your hate mail. I have the credentials.
Put it in the chat.
Well, I have the credentials. I am from Tobacco Road, and the heart of where great basketball was made great, and. So I know what it looks like. Those guys, you're going to get great basketball in Kentucky. Mid-South is a good conference. They got Georgetown. They got Cumberland's. They have, let's see, I get them confused, and forgive my... I'm
looking at Mid-South right now. Yeah, it's
Cumberland's, but it's both Cumberland's. They have 2. They have University of Cumberland's and Cumberland's University. Patriots and the Tigers.
University of. Oh man,
you got to help me, but they're both really good. But Cumberland's,
Cumberland's is
of Kentucky. I think one's in Tennessee.
Cumberland is Tennessee.
Okay, yeah, Cumberland, and then Cumberland's in Kentucky. Bro, put them at number 3 all. They hold
on.
deserve
Are you
it.
going to put Cumberland's above Georgetown?
Absolutely.
Georgetown fans, get in the chat. Let them know. Let them know.
Georgetown, I'm going to do them a favor and keep them in. I don't know. I think I already said they're low top 10 if they're in the top 10. I actually think Indiana Wesleyan's better than Georgetown. But
they got the 2 losses.
I'm kicking Indiana Wesleyan out for 2 losses. That'll all that centrifugal force of more games will start to prove how right or wrong I am. I'm kicking Arizona Christian out of top 10. Montana Tech, have a hard time with that one. They're good, but
it's always tough up there too, up in the Montana corridor.
Yeah, it is.
It feels like they all play so solid.
They play each other really well because they know each other. I think they have to play each other like 4 times. It's ridiculous. It's a small conference and Frontiers, North Star, all that area. They have small conferences, so they see each other a lot. How much does that play into those losses? You got to think about the Masters College or University out of California. I think they're really, really good. They're better than Arizona Christian, and
interesting.
So I think they need a boost. Morningside, good, maybe 20 to 25 though. Northwestern of Iowa, they're good. They're good. Top 15 team. I got a lot of top 15 teams. So
I don't know.
I might have 18 top 15 teams.
And so, sometimes that just happens though. Like you have teams that are so close, you're not 18th. You're all really 15th. But I got to put you somewhere.
Yeah, I'm dropping Freed Hardeman. They have really good defense. Their offense is their weak spot. And
Rocky Mountain there at 21, another Montana team. Again, same thing.
Yeah. All right, so that's enough on the top 20. We could go on and on, and we will later. Yeah. We got a couple more things to get to in this show. This is a special show, so we can extend it. Generally, these buzzer beaters are not going to be nearly this long. We've had a couple. We have one interview, got another one coming up with Coach Dill. You're not going to want to miss that. That's next, and I will probably do a little poll talk with him. So hang out if you're just getting in. You can tweet to your friends like, come watch Buzzer Beater. Let's get the NAIA love going on in the basketball. A lot of great basketball in the NAIA, and we're talking about it, and we want to turn the volume up a little more. We're going to take a quick 10-second break, then we're going to come back with Coach's Corner, and this first interview will be with Sooner Athletic Conference, now the number 2 team in the conference, but I think deservingly they could be number 25, 24 in the top 25 poll. And we're going to see what Coach Dill has to say about that in just a few seconds. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. You're watching the Buzzer Beater on the Champion Sports Network. All right, guys, this is a segment that we want to do a lot of here in the future, and it's Get With the Coaches. It's Coach's Corner type thing, and I am very excited about this next guest. He is the head coach for the Sagu Lions down in, I believe it's the South Dallas Metroplex. And he's one of the famous good guys now, and he's built quite the reputation as a great coach. And it is Delton Dill. Delton, join us here on the screen. There we go. Thanks, James. And thank you so much, man, for taking the time. I know you are like living on 1 to 2 hours of sleep. It's been a crazy weekend road trip. You got back last night, 5:30 in the morning. And but you got a good win yesterday against Central Christian up in Kansas, and you got to feel good about that. Talk a little bit about that win yesterday.
Yeah, it was a good one for us. We had just come off the game versus Langston on Saturday. We didn't play very well. They got us pretty good, and so seeing our guys be resilient, bounce back. They've done that all year. To be honest with you, we've played a really tough schedule, and every time we've had something happen, we've bounced back and played well. And yesterday wasn't the exception. We got a big lead and kind of gave a lot of it away at the end, but we played well and got a good conference road win after a very long weekend. A lot of different things going on and found our way through. So that's kind of what you want at this time of year. It's conference play. Every game's hard. So, right now it's just find a way to win, keep trucking along, have good things happen.
Yeah, well, you talk about the bounce back win. I'm not sure everybody knows exactly what you're talking about, but on Saturday you played a top 5 team in Langston University, and they're atop of the leaderboard right now with no losses and all wins of the Sooner Athletic Conference, which we've always said is quite literally the best basketball conference in the nation. Now, obviously, things ebb and flow, but historically speaking, this Sooner Athletic Conference is extremely tough from year to year, and this is the second year Langston has put together a absolute powerhouse of a team. You go up to Langston, which is a very tough place to play, and lose, and kind of in big numbers. Talk to us a little bit about how that game went, how you feel about the performance against Langston.
Well, they're a great team. And they have a great coach, Chris Wright. He's been doing this a long time and it's pretty much been a top, 10 team probably for the last 4 or 5 years of him coaching here at both at Langston and his previous school, Talladega. He's just a really good coach and he does a lot with his men. They're extremely talented. And they kind of, we started out the game pretty well and then they kind of hit us back and just took control of the game. And we didn't really respond very well on Saturday. And it was a tough environment and a tough Saturday game coming off of finals. And, this break is always a different thing to manage. And, they just beat us Saturday. So don't really have much to say. They played extremely well. They were ready for us. They were engaged and they took the fight to us. So, that happened and, you just own it. And, I say you Ralph it, recognize it, admit it, learn from it and forget it. And then you move on and you just do the second, you just do the, you take ownership of what you did, you learn from it, and then you move on to the next thing. And, so I was proud of us being able to flip the switch and go back and get a road win. We start 4 of our first 5 conference games are on the road. So a little bit difficult stretch for us, but we're managing it and doing pretty well right now. And so if we can just keep growing, then, I'm happy with where we are.
Yeah, and what you talk about the tough stretch, I have a question about how that works for you. Would you rather that tough stretch come in December or playing these away games? If you played them at home, I'm just using logic here. It seems like school gets out, you don't have the fan base to really cheer you on per se, be that 6th man in the gym all the time for you. Would you rather go on the road like this and go ahead and knock these out so that when the kids get back to campus, you got a stretch of home games against some of the toughest opponents in the conference? How do you feel about that?
Yeah. I mean, I'd say that's true. I mean, obviously, it's more fun to play with your fans in the building. So if we're going to have our home games, I'd like to have it whenever our students are on campus. One thing about SAGU, we're everybody's so supportive of our team, and I think our atmosphere is a really tough place to play in. Love playing our home games. So, yeah, I mean, getting all these road games out of the way, I mean, as long as you win them, then you feel pretty good about having them early. But, to be honest with you, win or lose, this is good for us and good growth. And it's kind of why we scheduled the way we scheduled. And, hopefully this battle tests us to where, towards the end of the year, we're playing our best basketball.
Okay, so we've already established with our previous guests that in men's basketball, the polls really don't mean a whole lot. They kind of put it there on the poll that this is not going to be used for seeding. I don't know if I actually believe that, but I get it. I get the spirit behind the statement here that the men's side is not regulated by the polls exactly, and there you go. You can kind of see the top 25 there. You're number 27 currently. That all could change tomorrow. And let's go back to the other frame, guys. So are you expecting, do you even care? Do you look at it? Do you expect to raise up? Talk to me about how you feel about polls.
Right. Well, I'm a Raider, so I'm in the middle of helping, kind of put that thing together. So I have a lot of opinions on it, but I don't know if I expect a lot. We did just lose a big game by a lot of points, so I don't know what that's going to do for us. I do think that we have, since the last poll, we went to USAO and got a big win versus a very, very, very talented team who is also probably underrated right now, which that'll. I think it feel like that'll all rectify itself as it goes. But so I don't know what I expect for tomorrow. Honestly, it's too early in the year to worry about that. I think right now we're just trying to become better, become a better team each time. And like you said, the poll is they have taken it out as a primary criteria, but obviously the poll can shape public perception, which honestly makes people believe whether you're good or not. But when the RPI numbers come out and people start to look at your top 50 RPI games that you've played and the good teams you've played on your schedule, I'm really more worried about us just performing well in those. We've played a lot of those already. I think we've already probably had 4 or 5 of those games in our first 10 games. So I think that's been good for us. And so that's really where we're focused right now. It's just becoming better every day.
Yeah, right. And that's really transparent, and I appreciate that about you, Delton. I know I'm going to get it straight and the truth. I think a lot of times I talk with coaches, and I don't want to say they're being dishonest, but maybe it's kind of how they know they should think. But we all know that, like you said, polls shape public opinion, and you want the public to have a good opinion of what you're doing at your school. And obviously being in that top 25 is very helpful. Right now, I don't know that there's any difference between 25 and 27, especially in a poll like this, which is solely based on votes and how you guys look at things. There's not a ton of analytics other than the analytical mind of coaches through optic test, and I would assume that it's not like we have greater access to games now than we ever have, but no coach is going to just sit there and watch all the teams. So it seems like your view is shaped by what your coaching friends are telling you, and you have some third degree, at least, connection to all these teams. So someone that knows someone that can give you an opinion. So, and do you guys talk about that in your circles?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Definitely, yeah. And I would say that this is probably one of the reasons why the criteria has changed. When the NAIA merged from 2 divisions to 1, there's so many teams across the country. And like you said, we don't have the same access as maybe Division 1 teams where everybody's seeing everybody and you have a lot of eyes on the teams and it's pretty obvious to see, who's playing well and stuff. Well, we don't always have those access without you seeking it out. So they've made the change was really because of the total group. You've got this huge number of teams and all these people playing. And I have a unique perspective because I coached in Division 2 and I coached in Division 1 NAIA. So I understand all the conferences and where the good basketball is and where the best teams are. And I think that gives me a unique perspective on the whole thing. But the poll, in the past, it was pretty much just that you went down the list of the top 30 ranked teams and you kind of just made it as you went down the receiving votes list. That's pretty much how you got in the tournament. But because of the tournament's bigger now, there's two, you got all the divisions merged. I just don't think that that's a clear enough picture of everything that's going on. So I like that. I like what we're doing. I think we're tweaking and getting better each year about picking the correct criteria and the right information to know who's good. I do think there's still a few flaws in some of the systems that we're doing, but it's trying to get better. And as anything, whenever you start it, you're just trying to tweak it from there and get it to a point to where it's pretty fair across the board. You're getting the right teams in the tournament.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you to take off your Sooner Athletic Conference Raider hat for just a second.
Sure.
Actually, it's kind of a dualistic question, so you could wear it. But just so we could say you're not being biased on this question about Langston. They're a top 5 team in the polls.
Sure.
Are they a top 5 team?
Sure. 100%.
So that defense is for real, right?
Yeah, it's not, and I think they've got a lot of really good basketball players this year. I think their IQ is high. Anthony Royd, number 2 on their team, is one of the best players in the country. He's a great player. But beyond that, they play really hard, and Chris does a good job of getting them to play together and connected, which isn't easy to do when you collect as much talent as he gets. So he gets a lot of talent. It's not always easy to mesh that, and he does a great job year after year. And it's more of the same. I think they're a very good team, and they're definitely a legit contender and somebody that's going to cause everybody problems the rest of the year in our conference and outside the conference.
Yeah, I was watching them because we're really interested in trying to identify who's really, really good. And I think, Coach Wright is a great coach. That's kind of hands down. Proof is in the pudding. But like you said, from year to year, you get different players, how they mess with the chemistry. He seems to have a unique ability to get high-level players to buy in. And one thing I was impressed with when I watched that game against you guys is the level of defense that they can play. And it's not just one style. They can play half-court defense. They can just throw everything at you, play a wild, helter-skelter type defense, and they're good at it. And I think that kind of showed up in the score because it got you uncharacteristically unbalanced, it looked like. And so, when you see a top 5 team, a lot of times you go, is this just popularity contest or is this a real top 5 team? And from what I saw, this team looks very legitimate. And
we're one of the
go ahead.
No, go ahead. Sorry. Yeah, we're one of the leaders in assists per game in the country. Our team is. We do a good job sharing the ball, and they really disrupted us and got us out of it. And we've had good perspective. We've played LSU Shreveport, who's probably going to be a top 5 or 6 team this week in the polls. We played Freed Hardman, who's a top 10 team in the country. We played Florida College, who's a top 25 team. USAO, who I believe is easily a top 25 team. We've played a lot of good teams and seen a lot of good teams. And Langston's as good as anyone, And I think Shreveport's really good too, and they've got also a great coach also. And I think they're very talented as well. But Langston plays very hard, and they're good at disrupting. And you have to be prepared for the fight. So, and if you're not, then they're gonna expose you. So it takes concerted effort. And it takes you being locked in to play with them for sure.
Yeah. So really quickly, touch on the SAGU specifically, but anything that you might know in the Sooner Athletic Conference. Are there going to be any roster changes? Are you adding anyone? Sure. Where are you? Do you have injury reserve players? Where are you, and how healthy will you be when you come back in January?
Yeah, we're going to be fortunate to get back Cortland Blake, who was our best player last year, first team all conference in Sooner. He averaged 17 points a game and very good player, two-way player, and he hasn't played yet this year. So he'll be coming back here soon, and that'll be a good bolster for us. He's a tough matchup, and I think he's going to help us in a lot of areas. This is the break. You never know what's going to happen academically or injury-wise, or people stands to NAIA. So rosters constantly change. So I would expect that you'd see quite a few changes in the Sooner. I know of a couple teams that are adding players already, and you just never know who will be there and who won't. But the one thing about our conference, it tends to get stronger as the year goes along, and I think you'll see that I think you'll see that as we go right here. So, but yeah, we're looking forward to having Cortland back. He's going to be a good addition to us, and we got to add a couple guys back in the last couple games as well. So
wow, that sounds amazing because you already have a national player contender. I think he's made a lot of headlines. He has been the 3-week. I think back-to-back player of the week in the Sooner Athletic Conference, and that's C.J. Hall. Did you know you were getting a dynamic scorer like that at the beginning of the year?
Yeah, I've known CJ forever. So his brother is our point guard, and his older brother is our point guard. He's been here for, I think this is 4th year now. It's hard to lose. Yeah, Alaric Hall. It's hard to keep track of everybody with the COVID years and everything that's going on. He's been here a minute. So I've known CJ for a long time, and he was, a great high school player and a, JUCO all-region player and a really good player when he came in. But, the best thing is, he does score a lot of points and he does a lot of dynamic things, but he is a great teammate and he plays within our system and he doesn't really get outside of what we're doing. And, Langston did a really good job on him, when we played him, but he's had a good game just about every game we've played, and he's a tough player. And, it's because he's in the gym as much as anybody I know, and he loves playing the game. And I think that's half the battle whenever you're talking about these guys that are elite. It's the ones that really love the game that kind of separate themselves. And I think that's what you're seeing with him.
Yeah. And one last thought here on how you something that I think is unique to your system this year, your program. You have, and I dare say there's no other program in the country that has this. You have 2 sets of brothers. And as I've watched you guys play, it seems like those 4 guys, those 2 sets of brothers on the floor a lot together. Is there something special about the chemistry that happens with a true brotherhood? I mean, your team's a brotherhood, but like literally same DNA kind of brotherhood. Is that different?
Oh yeah, definitely. So the chemistry and the synergy between those guys are, it's elite. Obviously they've known each other their whole life. They played together their whole life. But beyond that, those specific ones we have are unique people. So they're all so, incredibly unselfish and incredibly, they really play for each other, and you can feel it, and it resonates through the rest of our team too. So that's a cool thing we have. I think it's that's what everybody talks about because it's so unique. But beyond that, it's not just them. I think it's, we have a cousin on later in the roster. Yeah. We've got other guys, like a couple of our other guys had grown up with some of these guys, and it's just a weird synergy that we have, but it's really unselfishness throughout the roster, top to bottom. This has been a fun team to coach because they really love playing the game. I don't think that we've always had teams that just everybody loves playing the game, but these guys love playing. They love each other. We have very little inner drama or anything like that. And that's why I think you see a high assist totals. That's why you see efficiency and all those things, is because they willingly give the ball up and celebrate each other when good things happen. And, that's what you want to see. So you can lose if you're as a coach, you can lose if your team's doing that. You can lose with them. And then obviously that's going to help you win, and it'll be a byproduct of what you're doing if you play that way. And then your attitudes are that way as well.
Yeah, and I think there's a whole off the court level that happens when those guys talk about the game. They review things together. That there's and these particular sets of brothers, from what I hear, they're very open to criticism from one another. It's not like this brotherly strife that goes on, and for that reason, we have taken a look, and we believe no matter what that Langston, that's a top 5 team. So that's not a bad loss. Even though you may feel like that you lost badly, you're going to get to face them again. You're going to get to try this again against Langston at home. I do personally think that's going to be a different story than a 30-point loss. And if you can really improve everything and get the win, that's going to just justify my next statement even more. But I think you guys are a top 15 team. I've watched a lot of this early basketball, and right now it appears that you guys have the goods to be a top 15 team. Now, you have 2 losses in the book overall, and 1 is a conference loss, right? Do I remember
losses,
that?
Yeah.
Oh, you have 3
We
total
have
losses.
3, yeah.
All right, so
we lost, but all the top 25 teams, and we lost 2 buzzer beaters. So,
and you're on buzzer beater. All right, so this couldn't have worked out more perfectly. I don't know that I wanted to throw this in, but hey, James, I know we played this clip in the intro. Okay. This is I don't want to spoil it. So walk us through. What do you think? Oh, can you pause it, James? Right here. Pause it. All right. Let's set it up. You can see the scoreboard. You're up 3. And this is 3 seconds left to go in the game. What are you thinking right here? There was a timeout before this, right? Because we just saw an inbounds play.
Sure.
So I'm sure you discussed how did you approach this in the huddle?
I don't know that I have a 100% philosophy of what I think, whether you should foul or not foul or anything like that. I kind of, I'm a little bit more of a feel guy, whether the analytics support that or whatever, that's a whole nother debate. But, I like to look and see where we're at this point of the game. We had a huge lead and they were coming back and we were reeling. And so I felt like at this situation, we decided to foul with 3 seconds left. Typically, if you foul and you're up 3 and there's 3 seconds left, the only way you really lose most of the time, is on your own accord. So, you get a rebound, you don't turn it over, you make your free throws, you win the game. There's not a way for you to come back. It's on you. So that's what we decided to do right here. And, we'll see what happens. But,
okay. All right. Yeah. So the call is, hey, get the foul. Let's make them shoot free throws better than a 3-point play. To me, that's 100% call. Like from the bench, I mean, I'm just kind of putting on my my amateur coaching hat there, and it seems like the math works out, right? So that's what you do. You guys get the foul. It's pre the shot, so they're probably in bonus, I imagine. So he gets two guaranteed shots, right? Okay. Let's see. Have we already shot one? So I think he hits the first one. Let's see. I think this is the first one. And the commentators on this were awesome too. So if you guys didn't get it, all right. So he hits it, all right. And now we get shot number 2. Now, this is one of the hardest things to do, right there. Perfectly bounce off the rim. He gets it off. We've studied it. Banks it in on a. I forget what day of the week. So it might have been a work day. So maybe the bank was allowed to be open. But
yeah, that was a great execution by them. I mean, that's a play that if you did it 20 times in a row, I don't know how many times you'd make it.
You wouldn't do it.
It's only one time, and they did it. And
they did it.
Credit to Coach Teichman over there; he does a great job. And you know what, Florida College, whatever
these
they're
guys
doing
are for
at the
real.
end of the games is working.
Yeah.
They've hit 3 buzzer beaters this year.
Yeah.
1 full court. They hit a 75-foot shot to win a game at the buzzer. They made this shot to win a game, and the other day they just hit another buzzer beater. So whatever he's doing in his late situation practices, I mean, I need to do it.
I'm pretty sure that one of our calls in this next week is going to be to him, because he is the buzzer beater, and that is, of course, the name of this show. We need to get guys on like that. I'd love to hear his perspective and show this clip.
Sure.
That's a 1 in a million type of scenario right there. It bounced right for him.
And you said you think we're a top 15 caliber team. I do believe that we can play with just about. We lost another bank-in buzzer beater pretty much against LSU Shreveport, who's a top 5 team.
Yeah.
And then you have this happen. So honestly, we're 2 plays. You want to look at how you're playing as a whole and not let what happens in the last 2 seconds determine, shape who you are, even though it is a winning and losing game. But I'm pretty proud of us. We've competed outside of the one we kind of had the one dud, but outside of that, we've played a very tough schedule, as good as anybody, I think, and we've competed in every game. So
yeah,
I think we've given ourselves a chance to win, and we bounced back and won the next game after this. So
absolutely, you're deserving. We all know kind of how the polls work. You're so close to the top 25. I mean, it's like being in it at this point. But I hope to see you guys crack that, at least for public perception. And and that's going to be a good thing for your program. And thanks so much, Delton, for taking the time to be with us here on Buzzer Beater. I know that the fans, the NAIA basketball fans, that greater community that's out there that really follows, they appreciate your voice. And hearing high IQ guys like yourself talk about the game just makes us all better, and I think solidifies a tighter community, and will ultimately build the brand, the NAIA brand. So thanks so much. I know you're tired, man. Get some sleep.
Oh, you're good. Yeah, I want to say thank you to you too, man. Thanks for everything you're doing for us. Yes, a little tired. We had quite the weekend. We had a hotel catch on fire while we were in it.
Oh, man. In this last trip?
On fire while we're sleeping. Last trip, the hotel caught on fire in the middle of the night. Thought it was a joke. Thought somebody pulled the fire alarm.
Oh, no.
Walked outside and there's smoke billowing everywhere. And I was
no.
Man, let's get us out of there. So,
and is that the night before the Kansas, the Central Christian game? Okay.
Yeah, Sunday evening we got down there and we were out all until about 3 a.m, and then had to actually shift to a different hotel. Quite the story, but this when you coach, you just rack up stories is what you do. You just accumulate them. So this is another one for the book.
That is unbelievable. Wow. And you got the win, which makes it all the more better. That story will be legendary, I guess, for
our
your
kids
team.
Will remember that more than the win.
Yeah. That's a great story, and I'm gonna think about that. Maybe we'll see if there's anybody else that's had a similar experience. But anyway, Coach, man, I've taken up enough of your time. Thank you so much, and good luck the rest of the season. You got a big, tough conference. We think Sooner Athletic Conference, top 3 conference in the country, and there's a lot of work ahead. But we got our eye on you, and maybe we'll have you back soon. Thank you.
That'd be great. Thank you, man. Appreciate you.
All right, guys. And we're going to take a quick 15-second break. We'll be back in just a minute with some more basketball talk. All righty. We're going to wrap it up here in this final thoughts segment, but we want to thank everyone for taking your time to watch Buzzer Beater and help the big vision and mission of small college basketball, the NAIA basketball in this specific case. Buzzer Beater, just a reminder that we're putting this together to be a voice for the student athletes and the great coaches that just don't have an outlet. They don't get a lot of media attention. And we think this product is well worth everyone's attention. There are some great stories, and you could see that the last interview with Coach Delton Dill, head coach of the SAGU men's basketball team. He was a lot of fun and got a lot of great stories, some insight. Just one of many interviews and insightful segments that we're going to bring you over the next few months as we really get rolling here in the basketball season of the NAIA. And James, Zach, do you guys have any parting thoughts? Anything that we didn't cover that we should? This has been a little bit of an extended version. Once we hit January, we're going to get consistent drops, live shows that are going to come at you once a week. At least once a week, we may pop in with some other interviews as they come, because there's a lot to talk about. 222 men's team, 224, 226 women's teams. There's a lot of people we could talk to about this. It's going to be a lot of fun, and hopefully we'll get some student athletes on as well. But am I missing anything, guys?
Just tune in next time. So we can get
I can't hear you.
Yeah.
Is your mic on, Zach?
Oh, do I not have it?
Oh,
I can hear him. He's coming through for me.
Okay.
Hey, John?
Oh, barely. But
I was just going to say, tune in for the buy or sell next time. We're going to have.
yeah, buy or sell.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that'll be a fun segment. I think we're accumulating a lot of these fun trivia facts or where we are. If you were to say put Langston at number 2 in the polls, I'd be buying.
Right.
I'd be buying. So things like that. Yeah, I can't wait for that segment to pop up. And
Ready.
yeah, for real. James, you got any parting thoughts?
Just that I'm really excited about that poll coming out tomorrow, because
tomorrow.
early. I mean, it's so early in the year that it's these polls like right before Christmas, right? So the teams will have I think it's like a month between this one and the next one with the break. So I'm very curious to see how the inertia of the poll will kind of, because once teams get set, it's hard for them to move. So I feel like the one before Christmas is a big deal.
Well, and the men's side is definitely, it's a little easier on the women's basketball side for those to get moved up and down. A little easier, not much, but it will. I'm with you, man. I'm excited about tomorrow. We will just make sure, follow us on Twitter, and we will post when that link comes out. Whatever. It's Twitter. I'm not playing around. Eli can call it whatever he wants. He owns it, and I'm calling it Twitter. All right. You still go to twitter.com. So anyway, that I think is a wrap for us. Yeah. We got a lot of exciting topics to talk about, more interviews. We will clip out some of these so you can share on social medias with folks. I know a few things out of that Delton conversation that I want the people to hear. Yeah. And just so many. Nick Robinson. Got to get a better understanding of how the polls and ratings work. So we're all over that. We'll have Nick back on. He's an encyclopedia of knowledge, and when it comes to NAIA sports. So a lot of things to look forward to. We really, really appreciate you taking the time to drop in and watch some Buzzer Beater. Episode 1 of Season 2 is now in the books, guys. Have a great rest of your day, and until next time, don't get beat by the buzzer. I'll come up with something.
You had to do
it's just episode 1. All right.
See you.
Have a good one.
See you.